Отако. Отако. Так, а де вебка? Так. Що в нас сьогодні? Ніхто ще не прийшов. Заодно ми ще запустимо якусь музяку. Просто щоб була. На фоні. Давай, запускай. Так, отут. Шакіл, привіт! Зохан, здоров! Поки ви всі збираєтесь, поясню, що буде відбуватися. Зараз буде стрім по грі, яка дуже схожа на кіно. Це сюжетна гра. Вона коротенька, я думаю, що ми її за один стрім маємо пройти. Знову ж таки, на Epic Games вона нещодавно була безкоштовна, я її собі скачав, і тепер от думаю, щоб для вас всіх пограти в неї і подивитися на вашу реакцію. І, в принципі, якось різноманітний контент. Тож. Зараз ми її запустимо. Так, ми сьогодні будемо грати без вебки. Тому що гра, вона того потребує. От так. Такий початок. Така заставочка. Так, собі мінус. Кого? І всі ж будуть чути тоді, що буде Микола. А? Ти хочеш послухати цього? Да, заходь на стрім, да, будемо разом проходити. Так. Так, що в нас тут? Оп. Ага. Книжечка. Ну нічого.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you.
Много
I'm
ісю.
sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the house.
Це з самого початку. Так, а не затемно для вас, затемно. Значить, що ми зробимо зараз? Фільтри. Коригування кольору. Так. Яскравіше. Привіт. Привіт, студень. Так, якщо ми правою натискаємо, це ми щось приближуємо. Якщо лівою, нічого. Пішли. А можна якось графіка керування. Чутливість мишки ми зменшимо, щоб не було ривків. О. Так, набагато легше. Я жила тут до 11 років. У половину кімнат мене не пускали. Оп, поштова скринька. Ага.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent.
Поштові скриньки.
Open immediately.
Знайшла рахунки 17-річної давнини. Окей, ладно.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Була. Спостереження йде. Газети плавають. Доводиться крутити головою сильно.
My mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Залишила ключ, але
Maybe
не
she thought I'd
сказала.
know.
Може, вона знала,
Or
що я сама
she thought the
здогадаюсь.
mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Вважала, що самої цієї таємниці вистачить, щоб я вирішила повернутися. Не знаю, чи потрібен нам переклад. Finch. А вниз можна піти? Перед тим, як будинок заходитиме, ходимо вниз. Де мене гра не пустить, да? Ні. Чи пустить? Ні, воду не пускає. А навіщо вона мене сюди пускає? Тут просто все не просто так. Я так розумію. Алекс. Привіт. Щось таке згадую, вже давно бачив. Гра 17-го року. Детально і ретельно все подивимо.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ква-ква.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent, as if they're about to say something but never do.
Хтось пропав. Хлопчик. Типу, я все одно прийшов. Міг низом. І на шифті також не бігаю. Повень. Контрол. Shift все приближає. Ей, чуваче. А куди ти? Це типу я і низом міг пройти і вверх.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Пройдемо. Ну да. Ну от, все. Тоді пішли назад. В будинок. Коротше, за предісторією, це дівчина, яка залишилась одна. Вся її сім'я загинула. Привіт, ведбочок.
Не спойлериш?
Дуже давно я бачив цю гру на Ютубі і мені дуже хотіло в неї пограти. Привіт, Олександр. Гра платна, на Epic Games ні, вона безкоштовна. Чи так буде
The
завжди?
house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Ніфіга собі будинок. Ви кидаєте в цьому житті? Ой, а там щось плаває. Давайте подивимось, що воно таке. Цікаво ж. Ага, я не можу тут пройти. Типу, Якийсь змій?
I asked Edith once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband. I was 6. It seemed like an odd joke to me even then.
Когось вона спитала.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Будинок її лякав. Ладно. Сміття.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Буде нас було легше залазити в ці двері. Книжки. Типу, морозильна камера. Це ще щось робили. Велосипеди. Знаєте, для чого цей м'ячик висить тут в гаражі? Щоб можна було орієнтуватися, до якої машини паркувати.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Прикольно. Чи Едіс. Еді та Левіс. Підписано, так розумію, це мама, бабушка, брат.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Лосось.
Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Звикав до китайської кухні. Фільтр на воду стоїть. Ринок. Ох, скільки консерв. Лосося. Книжки, книжки.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
І саме безпорядок. А он.
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Так, а тут сиділа бабця.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine great-grandma Edith living in a nursing home.
А, це прабабушка Еді. А її будинок престарілих віддали, чи що? Рибка.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Прикольно, прикидаєте такий будинок на берегу якогось озера? Офігезно. Чи й крісло.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edith told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
З самого першого будинку, який потонув. Угу. Книжки. Всі різні. Годинник. Напевно, хтось з дідусів воював. А як крутить. Що?
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Ну. Хтось займався руками. А це крісло для бабці, щоб підійматися вгору.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of
Так,
that
що
last night.
залишилось від того бурного останнього дня? Вони щось м'якеньке збирали. Лампу там поклали.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Брат Мілтон живий. Ліхтарика в нас немає. Ніж. Оу, а двері запечатані. В принципі, ми типу через них не зайшли б. Йдемо нагору чи в підвал спочатку? А, ми ще в цій кімнаті не були. Чи ні, це ж кухня. Гаражу ми прийшли. Да, підвал пішли. Пішліть в підвал. Щось мало вподобає з ексклюзив.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ключ не підійшов. Це типу, о. Велосмок. І нам єдиний шлях нагору. Я спеціально змінив чотири
After Milton
смужки.
disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Другий поверх. Кидаєте? Ну ж кімната.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Моллі. 937-47. 10 років. Дівчинка прожила. Секундочка, масштабовий глазочок також був. Секундочку. Ладненько, удачного стріму, дякую.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Бібліотека. Ясно. Всюди нам ще доведеться побувати. Ладно. Вивчати другий поверх. О, прикольно. Дивіться. Пилка. На ній пейзаж. Прикольно. Чудова ідея. Для такого будинку. Так. Свін, Овстед, Finch і Едель.
The last time I was in Edith Senior's room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Художник. Прикольно тут. Кожна кімната має історію. Грегорі.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Це ж просто туалет. Дивись, Тін. В туалеті м'якенький коврик.
My
Келвін.
Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Кімната. Прикольно. Келвін 12 років прожив. Грегорі. Це його кімната була? 1 рік? Тут. Угу. 15. Ну, тут нормально пожили. Пила дружба 2. Можливо. Дивіться, скільки зображень, фото. А, ми зустрічали вже це фото. Барбара.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Книжки. А, тут ще може буде піднятись. Барбара.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Так. Цікаво. Це ми тут всі кімнати пройшли. Пум-пум-пум-пум. Добре, пішли далі. Нагору. Оу май.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Ну, добре. Що я маю робити? Я обичаюсь. Зовні якось заходити сюди. Оу.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
Двоюрідний дідусь.
I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Будинок — це, напевно, той самий перший будинок.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Пробувати відкрити ключем. Опача.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Прикольно. Малював. Вітраж навіть тут.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Дякую, дізем. Мастер, там десь шукати. Ну, будемо проходити потроху. Дивитись, що до чого.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Прикольно, да? От? Для дитини таку кімнату зробити.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Спальня для хомячка. Моллі. Офігезна кімната.
I got the sense Edith had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
Моллі Фінч. Ай, треба ж водить мишкою.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but it started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I tell somebody about what's gonna happen. So I looked around for something to eat.
Я прокинулась, почала шукати, щоб з'їсти. Тепер ми граємо за Моллі.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Да. Ой, рибка.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Навіть хотіла з'їсти рибку, а поклала назад. не бачу, точніше. Так само, як і ви. Не можу. Ну, максимально так для вас.
I kept eating and eating.
Зубну пасту.
I ate a lot of things that night.
А вони не справжні. Маленька дівчинка це відчуває.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
А що не спів почула?
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Мяу. Куди мені?
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Мама з татом навіть не помітили мене. Мяу. Я за пташням.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Оп, іграшки.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
І мені летіти.
Rabbits.
Зайці.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Кого я тут знайду?
A mama rabbit.
Не піймалася ж.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Воу, 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 воу. Оп. Побачив. Я стала акулою.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Право-вліво, да? Можу керувати. Корабель. Можливо, я кудись не туди пливу?
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
А як я керувати можу цією штукою? Окей. Лінь. Поки що не розумію, до чого тут це. Атакувати. Я розумію, що мені треба полювати на ту лінію. Але як мені спуститися нижче? Глибше нижче. Я вже всі кнопочки переклацав. Люленчик. Така я собі акула, правда кажучи. Ouch.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Ціла плавник, і він був дуже чудовий. Добре. Я не можу спуститися вниз, мені треба чекати, поки він спливе, чи що? Тут немає підказок, тобто що-небудь, що робити. What I can do. Ага, ось де ти. Бачу. Знову промазав чи що? Йдемо на друге коло, ми як на літаку літаємо, але з однією висотою. Знову промазав чи що? На друге коло. А, ось туди. Ай, такий собі мисливець Микола. Добре, я починаю розуміти, що треба робити акулі. Треба дочекатися, поки йому це не зле. Він спливе до гори, подихать. А, якщо не...
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Це змінилось. О, я тепер змія. Що я тепер? Що я таке? Я червячок?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
О, май. Monster.
was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Не могла. Помітись. Ладно, я запутався трохи. Капітан.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
І поплував.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
П'ятий запах зеленою. Стару трубу. Що я таке? Ой.
I got closer and closer.
Це ж твоя кімната. Схоже, не туди.
All my stomach started growling.
Пиво і урчало.
And suddenly, I was me again.
Знову.
I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Окей.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Мяу.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Кімната про бабушки.
We got along and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
Було.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
А, цей дракон був на дереві. І він, типу, коли будував його, впав чи що? Інструменти.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Типу всі втекли, а вона ні.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long,
long time. Edith gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Була в ярості. Мати.
Louis died a week before we left, but
За
Edith had
тиждень до
already started to
нашого
memorialize
від'їзду.
him.
Хтось пропав.
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Це їх прапрадід, напевно.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
На дно.
Odin's daughter Edith, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
В мідному кладовищі.
His daughter Edith is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Дочка мріє о новому будинку. Коротше. Коротше, півстоліття, сімейство Фінчей. Славиться на всю Норвегію. Я не знаю, як українська Норвегія. І багатством і нещастям. І що?
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Люка. Тряпочки.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edith seemed a lot younger than my mother.
О, а от тут той самий туалет. Рабиня. Іграшки ще для купання. Дзеркало, не дзеркало.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace. There's a secret in this bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Ратуйте.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
О, братюнь. Типу його кімната, братюнки, листи, лайди.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him.
казали про нього.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Мріяв літати.
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Я не вмію на качельках. Нога зламана.
I told him going around was impossible.
Казав, що не вийде. Зробити повний оберт.
Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Я скажу це. Не знаю.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
Сильний вітер.
then maybe he'd still be here.
Що він
But I
з нами.
doubt it.
Я сумніваюсь.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
Він вже прийняв рішення
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
свого брата. От, це мене розхитало. О, повторний оберт.
The day he made up his mind to fly.
Вирішив
And he did.
злетіти. І полетів.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Так. Так помер Келвін. Він мріяв літати
After
у
the
космос.
funeral, Edith roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Навіщо я сюди зайшов? Так, прапор Америки. Прикольно.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Oh, nice. Якщо захочу вийти. Чи зайти ще раз? Барбара.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Барбара Стрейзен.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Їй довелося пережити популярність. Happy birthday, Барбара. Ой, ось він вже пропав трохи. Книжки, нічого цікавого, не?
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edith saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale. inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
Ага, вот як нам ключ
20
дістати.
minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Ну,
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
вот такое. Такая вот такая.
The
Whatever.
gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Так, тут батько відрубав собі руку. Тут така сильна.
The old Finch rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him
Пошел
out,
нафиг.
but she kept a little something to remember.
Жартівник гребаний.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there?
Осталось.
Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Hey, coming up. Іду. Куди?
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And to him it was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
Яке хороше скло. Інший вихід. А ось де.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Через двері. О май гаднес. Через що я маю вийти, я вибачаюсь.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges grow. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Ще не кінець. Можливо, це хтось знову жартує. Опача.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but
Мати не було.
here Barbara was
За чутками Барбара була...
poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time.
Кроваттю.
He took it all
Okay.
pretty hard. But that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Чого хочешся?
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Не зрозуміло, де воно ділося при цьому. Зараз повернусь, друзі. Так, я знову з вами.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Тепер ми знаємо, як дістатися підвалу. Напевно. Так тихо стало. Не в ту сторону. Отак. Така темна гра. Деякі моменти. Давайте партеечку вбили, чи що? Печа. Виск, печень.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Sven.
I saw Edith sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Якимись пакетами. Блін. Темно. Можна якийсь ліхтарик мені хоча б.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Okay.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Зробив свій вікно з пейзажем. Окей. Walter.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Oh my.
I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
До всього звикаєш. 4 дня.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Вкусняшка. Ням-ням.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone.
Роки йдуть.
Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Вже старі руки такі.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
Март.
I'm done waiting.
Досить чекати.
I have to leave while I still can.
Треба йти. Тут нічого. Що? А, от куди я маю йти. Що я тут собі зробив? Модельки тут робив собі.
I know it's out there somewhere.
Знаєш, що воно десь там.
Whatever killed Barbara.
Те, що вбило Барбару.
And Molly.
Моллі. Це типу вигрібна яма.
And Calvin.
Келвіна.
Maybe this is all a mistake.
Все це помилка. Можливо.
But I need to stop living the same day. Even if it kills me.
Тупить, чи ніхто не пише. Оу. Ютуб мудак, тому що стільки повідомлення не бачив. Ой. Захіза, привіт, Озі, привіт. Ох, всім привіт. Гра крута, але я її бачив в кінці. Дочка стрьомна. Маркотик, Ридзяни, привіт, Іван, привіт. Тоша, привіт, Серхій, привіт. Всім привіт, друзі. Ютуб тупить, тому що я не бачив цих повідомлень. Таке враження, що він просто...
Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
Пиво за їжу.
I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Да. Так, Волтер і помер. Дідусь Волтер.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Казала, що він тут жив. Ну, мій родич ховається під землею. Це не кажуть. Я ніфіга не бачу. Настільки темно. Так. Я вибачаюся, мені не треба пройти його шляхом. Чисто теоретично.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Хотіла мене зберегти. Ой. Вона важче відкриває ці двері. Вона все ж таки жінка.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
Що вона тебе ще
I don't
ховала?
want to make the same mistakes she made.
Чи повторювати її помилки?
Trying to bury something that's still alive.
Намагатися ховати те, що він ще живий.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself
Що, кінець чи що?
and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Все це записувати. Просто
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Ой, в неї вже
But I thought you
песимістські.
should know about your family.
О, ліхтарики.
And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
І що ти зараз?
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Ви що, я сюди йду? Щось цікаве чекає. Ні, тут. Просто все передивляємось. Ладно. Ні, то і ні. Підійматися нагору. Вам, до речі, гру чути добре?
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Сімейне
It's
кладовище.
embarrassing for me to admit this, but
Дякую, Дотмен. Всі дякую.
the pet cemetery may be more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Це типу кладовище домашніх.
Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
Барбара Фінч, Волтер Фінч, Еді Фінч, Свен Фінч. Кожного своя. Ай Моллі. Кошеня.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
Будинок.
Edith said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Ладно.
Edith's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Gregory Finch, Sam Finch, Gus Finch. Milton Finch.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Левіс Фінч. Джейф. Хто? Мар?
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Зараз би лізти на стару.
But looking back on it now,
Чись назад,
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
вона попередила, що прийдеться так часто.
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
На 22-му тижні вагітності? Я типу вагітна чи що? Ладно, ну, по склу не підемо. А як сюди зібрати? А, вон сходи бачу.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but
Ви
I think he and
бачили
my mom had a lot in
Дуся
common.
Сема. Ти вважаєш, що в нього з моєю мамою було багато спільного.
They were both pretty intense.
Обидва були неспокійні. Serious Sam. Ото дідусь. Ото дідусь.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
О, це ти по трубки тіш. Це ми тут знайдемо. Всілякі нагороди, гвинтівка.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Іду на зустріч. Ну да. О, кошеня. Ай. Закай. В цьому будинку все офігезне. Що кажеш? Та ні, тут все офігезне. Що за гра? Та от, так. Дивимося про історію своєї родини. Прикольна гра, медична. Так, ага. Привіт, батько. Привіт, Женюля. Цю гру треба спочатку дивитись. Грегорі. Та не візьми. Уж ця анімація.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Ой, лягушатко.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to...
I wonder what he saw.
Так.
What his world was like. It reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
Whoa!
It sure made him happy.
Що я маю тут зробити? Так, важко керувати цією лягушаткою. Хе-хей, жабко! Ага, треба... А не сюди.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Може водичка.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
Пяу. Та й що я маю робити? Та й все, вийти з... Я застряв тут. Ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой-ой. А ну серйозно. Що я маю зробити? Серйозно, гра, підкажи мені, будь ласка, я не розумію, що я маю зробити. Да.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything.
Потонув малюк.
Wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. He'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Ви зараз цього не бачите? І дуже-дуже сумно.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Ох, важко керувати цим всім.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Вау. Я явно пілот від Бога просто.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Такий хороший. Я ще не розумію, що я тут роблю. А, вон де буковки.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Fuck you! А, все, я навчився керувати. Ну, майже. Ладно, не навчився. Зараз.
Wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Пішов дощик. Ох, як носить. Воу. От то вітер
Rain came
піднявся.
down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Вау. О май гаднес. От то вітер піднявся.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Не весело, все не весело.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Втекти ще далі. Маленька кімнатка ще вище.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad,
І там вона
Sanjay.
будувала будинок і познайомилася з моїм батьком.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after
Де
her
моє
dad died.
Віра допомогла після смерті батька.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Родився Льюіс. Це її брат.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edith was happy to have her back.
Мілтон, Едіс. А, я не встиг прочесть.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edith was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Майже все в порядку. Ой, імена.
But it didn't last.
Great job.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edith gave him a castle.
Провали йому замок. Milton.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Кімната з його малюнками.
I I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Ще один митець, ще один художник. Прикольно. Це взагалі чудово. Класно. О, прикольний. Дальше. Ти ж бачив цей малюнок. Дерева прикольні.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Як це? Малював двері, ручку для дверей. Оп. І втік.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Milton.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Опа, тут вазочки. Так, можна ще вище піднятися.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
А от звідки ці консерви. Прикольно тут. О, кальянчик.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Ні-ні-ні-ні-ні-ні, стій. Анімація. Повернись назад.
Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
О, це моє стрімерське місце. Васик. Пільничка.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
О, одночасно і мишкою, і клавіатурою.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Ай.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Dark Souls.
I worried about him then.
Зараз мій мозок трохи зірветься.
Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Ой, собаки.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
Що, свищу то я.
He talked about starting a band.
Приват.
And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
New York.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
He started drifting away from our reality.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Більш ніж король.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Йому неприємно було згадувати Льюіса, стоящого веєру.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Це я, типу?
I still thought I could save him.
Володіє врятувати його.
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
everybody!
and insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown.
Hi
There was
guys!
only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
No, 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 no.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Oh my.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Да. Це її брат. Його, конечно. Точніше, зовсім
On the way
топа.
back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
На мене. Ховати
She waited
чемодани.
until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Ну, я розуміла, чому ми це робимо. Це типу моя кімната. Запаковане.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Ну, що, все позаду.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Ти бачиш? А посте... Ну, посте вже давно.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Ну, це мало статися трохи раніше.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Okay. The Finches.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Ігор все написано в назві. Цю гру треба проходити або...
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Або дивитися від початку.
Out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Залипательно это.
But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Ніколи не думала, що повернусь туди.
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Це великий туман, синій туман, я збилася зі шляху.
I got turned around.
Навколо.
For a while, I wandered.
Якийсь час я блукала.
I started seeing things.
О, олень. Здоров! Стій! Дарк побіг.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Де текст? Де? Речі, про які я забула. Ліжко.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Багато що вернулось до мене.
Or maybe I came back to them.
Я до того повернулась. Ми зараз
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
Чи ніколи не бачила про бабуська.
The next morning the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Було вже пізно. Померла вночі.
After that we moved around a lot.
Я на Epic Game взяв. На Epic Game воно зараз безкоштовно.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Мати померла.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. but now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
That's Finch. Я не знаю, що сказати. Да.
Очень грустно.
Да, дуже така сумна гра. Надзвичайно, я б сказав. Надзвичайно сумна гра. Якщо, Зохан, ти не хочеш купувати ці ігри або скачати її та пройти, то варто передивитись цю гру. Це гра історія однієї родини. Проте про всі випадки, як помирали кожен з членів цієї родини. Дуже цікавий. Чудовий будинок, чудова сім'я, чудові історії, але дуже дивні випадки. Тим... Уточник, привіт. Взагалі вся гра, от вона будована на історіях о тому, як гинули люди, члени цієї родини. Вон дівчинка, яка була совою, кішкою. Персики. Історія тут. Гра дуже емоційна. Я вважаю, що... я розумію, що продажі таких ігор, вони не космічні, але ви прикидаєте, яка робота була пророблена для того, щоб відтворити цю гру. Отако. Спочатку говорить Edith. Еді. Ця родина. Кіт, який приплив, яка вижила, їх діти. І Сергій. От і завершилася гра. Дуже емоційна, дуже... Я навіть не знаю, які слова підібрати. Знаєте, якщо б можна було б складати ігри по поличках, типу, ця крута, оці норм, от в ці я ще пограю. Ця б гра лежала десь зверху, гра, яку ти пройшов і відклав у себе в пам'яті. Типу, вона створена людьми, які співчували кожному моменту цієї гри. Це надзвичайно круто. Всі ці історії, всі ці моменти, це зображено просто неймовірно класно. І якщо у вас є можливість, скачайте її собі, встановіть, придбайте, якщо в Steam. Прийдіть. Це чудова історія. Нема за що, Олексій. Нема за що. А наразі всім дякую. Всім дякую, хто подивиться це офлайн. Всім дякую, хто дивиться онлайн. Будьте чемними. Говорите дорослих. Не забувайте, що іноді треба приїздити, треба дзвонити батькам, своїм рідним. Життя грьобана мінлива річ. Цього в житті не стигнеш. Але є моменти, які варто пам'ятати, переживати знову. Моменти, які треба відпустити. Отак. Всім добра.